Hello, everybody. This is our Tuesday team call, and I'm really, really excited. Can you hear me, guys? Okay. Really excited to share with you our guest speaker of the month of March. And part of the reason that I'm doing a guest speaker once a month, and I'm so glad you said yes, Jess, because you did have to, is because I really want to help the team grow in connections and hear people's stories, because we're going to meet people who are like every single one of us, and we might be able to say, you know what, I totally get that, because my friend Jess, her story is very similar to yours, or my friend Dana, felt the same way, about herself, and this is how she kind of evolved. So, but also I think for us, as we've become our own leaders, it's so easy to just do your own thing with your team, and we don't really get to have that connection as much, as maybe you do as you are a newer coach. So I think this is a great way for us to hear from her and also learn a couple best practices that she has, as long as there's time that allows. Then maybe some time for some Q&A if we have time for that as well. So I would love to introduce you guys to Jessica GRONAS. She was not initially my personally sponsored coach. Just to give you a quick background on that, Aaron Porter's mother signed up with me, signed up Aaron. Aaron signed up Jess. Tammy quit. Aaron quit. Jess was like doing the thing. And when Aaron signed on again, Aaron signed on with Jess, which makes total sense. So just to give you an idea how that happened, because I didn't know Jess before she was a coach. So there's that. And then also many of you guys watch her and absolutely love how she's kind of evolved into the coach that she is now, and how she shares. And that's a big part of what you guys love, how she shares her heart. So I'm really excited for you guys to hear from her. And Jessica, you have the floor, girlfriend.
Oh, my goodness. Well, thank you. You're so sweet. So yeah, it is funny how I started with Aaron as my coach. So I still kind of, even though, so Erin's back on the team, she came back, like you said. So it's like Erin, and I kind of have two coaches. I got lucky in that way, in a sense, because I have Carrie and I have Erin, who initially signed me up. And that's really where it all started, was with Aaron Porter. We were orientation leaders in college together, and she brought a shake to one of our meetings, and I asked what it was, how everyone goes about that. I tried to drink of it, and I'm like, holy shit, that's really good. And so when she told me about it, I was so like, yeah, I'll do it. I'm like broke as a joke in college, trying to pay rent. I paid for everything on my own in college. And so people, when they have that objection of money, I'm like, well, let me tell you what. I was working at the bookstore. I was a tour guide. I was doing all this stuff just to pay my rent, and I was still able to drink the shake. So I've got that on people with that. And when I bought the shakes initially, I was like, she told me about the coach thing right away. And I was like, well, can I just sign up to be a coach? And Erin was my friend at that time anyway, but she was like, why don't you just try the shakes for a month? And I think, and that's what I did before I signed up to be a coach. But I thought that was a really good, and I don't think it was a strategy, but that's something to keep in mind instead of being so desperate, like, heck yeah, become a coach. You don't want people to become coaches just off the bat if you're not sure that they're committed. And that has been my latest strategy, because for a while I would have people sign up to be discount coaches, and they'd get ahead of themselves, and then it doesn't work out because they're not fully committed and they don't really understand the benefits of the shakes. So just a little side note of that. So after my first month, I lost 5 pounds. I wasn't buying Starbucks. I wasn't eating as much Wendy's in the student union, and I just felt so much better. Like my hair, it's just growing. I'm going to donate it, speaking of hair, sooner than later. But just everything about me I felt better and I was healthier. So fast forward, I've been a coach over 4 years now, and I've been drinking Shakeology ever since then. And I've always considered myself a business builder, but I would definitely call myself a hobby coach, because after college, I went to grad school, and then in grad school, I was doing the best I could, truly. We all have excuses, and I could have done more, as we always can. but I don't regret any part of my journey because, like I said, with what I had at the time, I did what I could. And then in this past year, life is, I don't know if I should even say the word settled down. I feel like when you say that stuff, then that's when shit kind of hits the fan. But I got married. I'm living in one place. I'm not traveling back and forth. I went to grad school in South Carolina, so I made connections there. I'm originally from Ohio. And I would host challenge groups here and there, but wasn't really prompt with following up with them. And went to Summit this past summer. And that, I feel like, really, I don't know, it just was a game changer for me. And I got to meet a lot of the people on this call, which was awesome. And it was super fun, hectic, chaotic, but so fun. And I have been through some stuff this year and have really developed my faith more than ever. And I'm putting that into my story and really basing my challenge groups on people who want to grow in their faith as well. We've been, for the past 3 groups, so past 3 months, we've been reading a book as well as doing our challenge. And I'm like, I don't read. I really don't. I don't enjoy reading. But these books are motivational self-help books. And then we have calls like this with my challengers ideas each week. And so that, I think, was the missing piece in my business was, what am I doing different than any other Beachbody coach, right? And I'm sure you've heard that a lot. It's about you. It's not about the product. You can help them with the product, but you're the one ultimately helping them. I feel like I'm talking in circles. So that's where I'm at. I'm going on the Success Club trip in April of 2018. Are you freaking kidding me? Not this one, but yeah, next year. And I remember being in my kitchen, probably cutting zucchini. Like, I listen to wake-up calls and stuff when I'm in my kitchen cooking. And this was last year, in January, when they announced the Riviera Maya Success Club trip. And I truly was like, I'm going on that. I'm doing it. And then here I am. And I didn't even, someone tagged me in the post saying what number I was. So that's, I'm all over the place. And I'm like, wait, what is that? What does that number even mean? And then I'm like, hell yeah. So Erin and I are going, and we're going to relive I'm sorry, I'm cussing so much. My goodness. We're going to relive our college days in Riviera Maya. So yeah, that's my spiel.
So Jessica, actually, does anybody have any questions for Jessica at this moment?
I don't have a.
Oh, look at that!
Oh,
You need to take notes.
wow.
I bow to you, Abby. Please go. I will mute.
No. She already muted herself. She does that a lot. I don't have any questions for Jess, but she left out a huge part of her story.
Oh, my weight loss.
Yes. I mean, she was doing the programs for a while, and you lost some, but you were kind of struggling up and down, but then she did something huge. I'm not going to talk about it. I'll let her talk about it.
Yes. Okay. Good point. Yeah. See, and that's where I've been with, I'm glad you pointed that out, honestly, because I was like, should I prepare something? I'm like, no, I just want to talk. But one thing that I've gotten so engulfed in the fact of personally developing, so being healthy involves so much more than physical health, that's kind of where my mindset is. Like, obviously the weight loss comes, and that's how I introduce it to people. It's like, if we're focusing only on weight loss, we're missing a huge piece. And so that's, I think, why I just didn't even add that part, because obviously I'm healthier because I'm following all of these things. So anyway, yes, this is so correct. I was in college and grad school. In grad school, grad school, enough said, right? I had an unpaid internship. So I was working as a server, bartender, which was fun. Like, I really enjoyed that job, but I was working till 3 a.m. on the weekends. At the end of the shift, you got a free beer. So I don't like beer. So I had Angry Orchard at 3 a.m. and would go home and eat pizza. And you can just imagine. So I'm still drinking my shakes and still doing following workout programs from start to finish, thank God, because I don't know what would have happened if I wasn't doing all that in those days. And then my wedding came. And so I started with a 3-day refresh and did the 21-day fix meal plan and actually followed it. Like, I used to be the person who would, and I still did this after our wedding, I would work out in the morning, and then I would come home and I would go on a run, and then I'd eat like 2 times as much because it was okay because I was working out twice. And when I was, and I know I'm young, I know, but I'm telling you, when I was 18, 19 versus when I was like 23, just that change. And I know it only gets worse, right? But that, I used to be able to eat Taco Bell, but I was working out like a crazy person and it didn't matter. So even in those couple years, I noticed that change. But the weird thing was my clothes, like I never really had to buy new, bigger clothes. I must have just kind of shoved into them. But then after our wedding, so I lost weight with the 21-day fix. Feeling really good. Then I decided I'm going to do a figure competition. And that is when it was just the point of having I had a coach that held me. I mean, like, she was checking in with me weekly, and I told her I wanted that. And it wasn't until I committed. It was me. You know, I had to have somebody say to somebody, I want this and I need you to help me. And so she did. And so I've lost over 35 pounds probably. I mean, I've gained since my competition, thank God, because that was very small. And she did it the healthy way. Like, you hear these horror stories about figure competitors or bikini competitors that, I mean, if you've heard, but like, they gain all this weight and they go into yo-yo dieting. And I am, what am I, like 5 pounds more than my stage weight? And I'm building muscle right now. And so that shows how healthy I went about that. So yeah, that was a huge part. That was in the past year. A year ago in May, I competed. It messed with my head for sure, though. And I haven't really shared that part with people, but it was hard because you are obsessed. Like, if you're not obsessed, you're probably not doing it right when you're competing, because you have to do everything to a T because you're about to be half naked on the stage, right? And if you want to feel comfortable with that, and I enjoyed it, but then afterwards, like, I'm finally getting to a place where people are enjoying me. It was like, you know, I get anxious when people ask me to go out to eat and stuff like that. So that's another part of my journey that, with my challengers, I've asked them to share moments that they go out to eat. I try not to use the word cheat meal because I feel like all food is good. I like my kale as much as I like ice cream. That's probably not accurate, but you know what I mean.
I think
So
that's,
yes, that was my fitness journey.
I was going to say, I
in a
think that's
nutshell.
great, and it makes you so much more personable as you share those things. Because I remember watching you, and it was almost like watching Janice. You know, she also did, you know, that the body, different scale, but kind of similar.
Yeah, no, yeah.
Struggled after, you know, with the whole mind thing, you know, too.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that was great to point out. But I think too, how you've evolved as you share is because you're sharing things that were difficult for you and how you've overcome. And you share how you enjoy your food, and it's not a taboo subject. And then you just share how you're just going to continue to be active. Like, this is how I enjoyed it. There's still a balance to the enjoying, right? It normalizes it and it makes it okay. So I love that. I love that part of watching that. Miss Jennifer, did you have a question for Jessica?
Kind of. I had to say, I don't know when it was, but I noticed a switch, and because I followed you for a while, but I noticed a switch in your posting and how you were posting more of your faith, which I found really inspirational, and I really enjoyed that. But my question is, so when you add your professional, I like to call it that because we do that in school, your personal development, or you add a book with your challengers, is it a faith-based book, or is it just something that do you require them to do it? Do you say up front, like, hey, when you get your kit, you also have to go on Amazon and buy this? Or how do you kind of navigate that within your group?
Yeah. So I started out with, when I introduced the challenge group, that's part of it. So like, I'm like, we do health, nutrition, workouts, and we're reading a faith-based book. Yep. And so the first two picked a book that I was reading, and actually this is a good learning moment for all. It was, most people didn't like it. Like, I didn't like it. The lady, where is it? I might have it near me. I'll have to post what it was called. Help, Thanks, Wow. Has anyone heard of that? Okay. So it ended up being a 2-part, like there's 2 different books for it. So I was like, well, I'll buy both and then we can read. That's 2 challenge groups down. And so it was a really easy read, and she was very blunt to the point where it was like, you don't really feel awesome after you read it. You're just kind of like, anyway. So, but in our groups, we would have these Zoom calls, and finally someone was like, okay, I really don't like this book. And I'm like, good, because I'm really not loving it either, and it's not like I wrote it, so I'm not offended. And so we had great discussion based on that. And then this past group, I asked them for ideas, and I'm finding that I'm having a lot of the same girls in my challenge groups, which is totally fine and great with me. And so they're moving along with me, and then we'll add people as we go, obviously. But I had them come up with ideas, and I made a Google survey and asked people which book they would prefer. So our most recent book is I Am That Girl. Has anyone heard of that? I hear that Abby has. Is that?
I ordered it, and it's actually sitting right over there because I'm going to be reading that next. I haven't started it though.
Oh, good. Yeah, it's awesome. The only downfall to that book is it's not a quick read compared to the one we did the first time. So I'm flexible with them because like I said, I'm not a big reader. And so 2 weeks ago, we were supposed to meet and talk about the first 5 chapters. And the night before, I sent a message or posted, and I'm like, all right, I'm going to be honest. I haven't read that much, and ain't nobody want to be stressed about reading a self-help book, right? And they were like, oh my God, good, me, or gosh, they don't, anyway, me either. And so that is one thing I'm still trying to decide. I'm like, should I be more, we need to read book, this is the timeline, but I think making people stressed out in this group is the last thing I want to do. So we're just going with it. So that was a very long answer to your question.
I'm glad you do that too. I always give long-winded answers, so I'm glad to know that you do that too. Awesome. How about anybody? Mitzi, do you have any questions? You might be muted, hon.
Yes, I do. I'm screaming kids in the background. She said that she focused her challenge was based on developing her faith and things that she's gone through. How did you initially start? Like, can you give an example of some of your initial statuses on Facebook or social media that would draw like a certain target market, so to speak? I hate to say that. It sounds very salesy. But what did you say to get those people to respond?
Yes, that is an awesome question. So I started with my devotional, and it actually, I don't really think I was intentional about posting my devotional for Beachbody. It's more started with, I was going through a really hard time, and I thought, well, if this is helping me and I need this help, I want to help other people. And so I would post my devotional, I would post reflections about my devotional and different prayers, and then people would message me from that and say, you're really inspiring me with this, or that's exactly what I needed to hear, and we could kind of relate on that level.
Okay, so it's a process that you have to kind of be patient with, would you say?
I would say just let it be, what's the word I'm looking for? Oh my gosh, where it just happens.
Natural? Natural?
Yes. Hard word. I guess. There's another weird word, but yes. So just, it really naturally happened, and it drives me nuts when people say things like that, because it's like, well, that's not very helpful. But I just posted, and I didn't really have any expectations, if that makes sense. And as I started to post about challenge groups, I would let people know that that's a part of it. Or once they showed interest in my groups, once I talked to them individually, I let them know that that's a big part of it. But whenever I post about anything fitness and health, I try and make sure I talk about it from a whole mindset perspective, mind and body, not just the physical transformation. But yeah, patience is always good.
Okay.
Yeah.
Anybody else have any questions, comments, thoughts for Jessica?
I'm going to talk again. Sorry. I didn't talk all during Abby's call yesterday, so I feel like I have to talk. I just want to say that I love that you basically just said you started just sharing you and your journey, and you didn't set it out for any specific reason other than just to help others. And I think that's what is so important about this business, is that we don't have to have a reason. I mean, I know you want to post with a purpose and intention, but just sharing your journey brought all these other people who are struggling in that same thing. That is okay just to post something, just to post it because you need it out there. You know what I mean? So I really am inspired by that. I love that you just started sharing you, and that's what kind of kickstarted your growing of a business. Like kudos to you. You're awesome.
Well, and it really made it easy in a sense. And like you said, it's something that I needed to share. And it was a healing process for me as well. So it worked. It was a win-win. And it still is.
And I love, Jessica, how you shared that you weren't always, as active of a business building coach. You went through stages of being different types of coaches, and how that's okay. That's absolutely okay, because it just, and there's people on this call too. And sometimes I think guilt can come into play, where you think, you said, I could have done more. But what I love is this can always be what anybody wants it to be. And permission to let guilt slide off your guys' backs if you ever feel like you should be doing more, because, if what you're doing is making you happy right now, and it's working for you, and it's a great fit for your life, don't push it, because of what you think you should be doing or what other people are doing. Because I really think that if we do what we can when we can, and we allow it to bring us the joy that it's supposed to bring, then there's enjoyment in it. And I think if we push things, like for you, you had a lot going on with school, Jessica. I can't even imagine you were working, you were going to school, and then to try to do more because you thought you had to would have just really destroyed the balance that you created.
Yeah, I agree. And I feel like in here lately, I'm just, if I start to get stressed about my Beachbody business, I'm like, take a step back. That's when I know I need to slow down, because it's not supposed to be stressful. And once it is, people are going to see that you're trying, it's going to feel salesy because you're trying to meet numbers. And if you just do it and it feels natural and authentic to you, everything will come through with that for sure. Yeah. And another thing with the business, I had a like page, and I've deactivated it. And so I'm not telling you to deactivate your like page right now at all. But I deactivated it because of other personal reasons. I didn't want to be quite so publicly out there. And so I have a private support group. So I don't know if you guys talked about this a lot, but that is a huge feeder into my business. And it's a so not awkward way to make connections with people, because so they like my post, and I can start out with message them and be like, hey, I have this free private Facebook page, and I send them the link. And I'm like, if you want to join it, you can. And so I post the majority of my super helpful information, my live videos in that group. It's almost to 300 people, which is pretty exciting. If we're worried about numbers, but then I can, I tell people to add their friends. I think one thing I'm going to do is post a picture of the I'm That Girl book and ask them to add a friend to the group and tag them in it, and someone will get that book if I, when I get to the point where I want to raise my numbers. But I haven't done Facebook ads. I haven't done anything like that. I said to my husband, I'm like, I'm kind of kicking butt with Beachbody. And I said, I'm haphazardly working, and he's like, I wouldn't call it that, because I'm still posting with a purpose and I'm still following up with people. Still could be better with tracking. If you can do anything right now, get good at tracking, like from day one. My gosh, if you're good at that, I envy you. It's just, that's a huge struggle point for me. But my everyday things are posting in the morning, some kind of motivation. You don't want to make, in my opinion, you don't want to make your morning post like the most long post in the world, because people are probably in bed like with one eye open reading your post anyway. And then I try like Monday or Tuesday to post some really good stuff. The ones that I'm like, this will really draw people in. From my experience, and this is not looking at any kind of Facebook numbers or anything, I think the weekends, Saturday and Sunday, at least with my people, they're not paying as much attention to Facebook and social media. That's just my opinion. And so I don't want to put like the best post ever on those days. So just kind of get a feel for when people are liking your things. And I know there's ways of getting a more accurate count of that than just like looking like I am. But I'm usually like Monday or Tuesday, people are kind of like, oh, maybe they ate bad over the weekend. And if you can pop up on their newsfeed being all happy and excited to help them with whatever goals they want to achieve, that'd be awesome. And another thing with my fitness journey, I like to post about that, but I've learned too that I'm not trying to post my figure competition pictures as much as I did. I have really awesome pictures from a photo shoot, but I found that, well, one, I mean, I don't look quite like that anymore. I didn't like the week after, because that's just not how that works. I was dehydrated and all of that, but I wanted people to not feel like, well, that's not realistic, because it's really not. I had to put a lot of effort, and basically that was like a part-time job to get into that position. So being genuine and staying real. And if you're still on your fitness journey, oh my gosh, that's great. I'm telling you, that's awesome. If you are still working on the weight loss and working on your health, as much as you think, oh, well, maybe I don't want to reach out to people because, I don't have abs yet. That is such a wrong mindset. They want people who are real and who are going through the same struggles that they are. So preach to that.
I'm glad you shared that, Jessica, because I think it's so easy for us to take a step back if something gets hard, or if we can't physically work out because of an injury or an illness, or maybe some person who gains and drops the same 5 pounds. It can really easy to get in our own way and think we can't share because we aren't worthy to share, because we weren't diligent enough and we weren't, strong enough and consistent enough, right?
Yep.
Yeah. So
yeah, and
go ahead.
I was just going to say, I found that from some feedback I got, that sharing my post-figure competition pictures was kind of like, well, I can't work with her then. You know what I mean? Because it's like, it's just like intimidating, which I'm not saying that I am at all, or that anyone should be intimidated in any way, but I could understand that now, that when I think back. Yeah. So just being aware.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I'm trying to see if anybody's trying to ask a question. Let's see. Anybody else have any comments, questions for Jess? And I do know, Jess, that you are building a wonderful team as well for yourself. And you've talked quite a bit about how you share your journey. But do you have any thoughts about, or things that work best for you as you're growing your team? And how to, because you shared how you do really, really well with keeping everybody engaged and moving forward with the whole mind-body connection. How do you do that with your team as well? Is it the same? Are they all in the same challenge group? Is it different?
So that is where I have spring break coming up in a couple weeks. I work at a school full time. And so my plan is I want to have training videos of me, because, who doesn't want those, right? So I really want to work on getting my team a training from me personally, so they can, as their coach. But my team that's been growing, they've been from challengers. Yeah, challenge groups. And they're loving the shakes. I just made a video a couple of days ago about, so I'm going to send it to challengers like mid-month of their first month of Shakeology. And it's about how Shakeology is not just another protein shake, because if one more freaking person tells me I'm just not going to get Shakeology anymore because I found this protein shake at Walmart, and I'm like, that's great. I drink protein too. I do. But and I don't need to preach that to you. But so I made a video explaining why it's not the same thing. And so I think that'll help with my Shakeology recurring orders. And I also, but anyway, so yes, I've had challengers in my groups, and then we talk about their results because they're kicking butt and they're so engaged in the group that they're making an effort to drink their shakes every day, and they're posting their shakes every day and seeing the results. So they're like, why not get a discount and try and get my Shakeology paid for? I have not honestly had a coach sign without being on Shakeology for a month yet.
I really like that. I really like that you do that, because then they can, they can decide, how do they want to move forward? Do they still want to order regular price, right? Do they want to be discount member, or are they already telling people about it and they're asking where they can get it? So I think that's really great. How do you have that conversation with people? Is that a private message thing? Like you check in with them and let them know? And I'm asking because I used to do a 25-day, I do a 25-day system. So on day 25, after someone orders their first, challenge pack or Shakeology for the first time, I check in with them to find out, how are you loving it still? Is it something you want to continue? And if so, we talk about how to continue. How do you do that? Do you do that with a video as well?
So I have a reminder in my phone. So when someone orders Shakeology or a challenge pack, I go on my phone and like 25 days probably after they've placed that order, I put in their order date in my reminder so I know that their Shakeology is going to ship on this day. So I make sure I get to them a couple of days before that. But typically I know how they're doing because they're in my challenge group and I'm seeing, their interactions with that. I'll check in from time to time and just say, how are the shakes going? Any questions? But then when I send them that message, when that reminder goes off in my phone, I ask them how the shakes are, and I'm like, are you loving them? And say, well, it's silly for you to pay full price for this. And if there's someone truly, like, if they're not someone who is posting like crazy and super inspiring, I don't always ask them to be a business builder. But I always give them the opportunity to be a discount coach. And I let them know you can start out either way. You can start out wanting to build a business, and if you decide you just want the discount, or vice versa. But like I said at the beginning, I make sure that they're going to be planning on getting Shakeology long term, because I've done that before where coaches sign and they do it for a month, and then you get that dreaded cancellation email, and it's just not worth anybody's stress. So I want to make sure they're fully committed before that. But it's a private message. Yep.
That's great. That's great. Thank you. So if nobody else has any questions, Jessica has us done 10 minutes early. I think we're good. Any questions, comments, thoughts for Jess? All right. Thank you so much for making time today. I know you get up really early too. Dana's up at 4 a.m. There's a lot of you in the early club, but I know that you value your sleep, Jessica. So this was a huge thing for you to say yes. So I'm really, really glad that you did, and loved hearing from you. Absolutely loved hearing from you. So okay, so this week, you guys, I'm trying to think what's coming up next. Oh, next week is our Coach Connection call. So we'll have a little activity, some fun that we're going to do together if you guys are able to make it. And that's the second Tuesday of every month is Coach Connection. So have a great week, guys, and do something to make yourselves proud and put yourself out there and share your heart like Jessica does. So have a great one.
Thank you.
Bye, Jess. Bye.
Oh, wait, we never took a picture. I always forget that. Did you think of that, Jennifer? Dana? It's Dana's job. All right.